20 Practical Ways You Can Make the World a Better Place, September 26, 2024. I've written a lot about Christian political engagement recently, not because I think it's the most important thing for Christians to do, but because I believe it is an important thing for Christians to do. Most of the Christian political analysis I see from the ministry class on social media heavily downplays the importance of politics, and so I feel it's important for someone to let Christians know it is more than okay for them to act politically in the best interests of their families. Those guys often characterize political engagement and spiritual activity as an either-or. We were called to win souls, not elections, etc. So it may come across as though I'm choosing political engagement, when in reality I'm rejecting the false dichotomy and picking both. In fact, I view the political as spiritual, because I believe every part of this world is governed by the Lordship of Christ. However, this advocacy can give another false impression, and that is the idea that all of this is about checking a single box on a Tuesday in November once every 4 years. Though that is a way you can make a small but a positive impact on the world, it is one of many. Even politically, there are plenty of other good things you can do to bless your fellow citizens locally and or nationally. So, to put voting and political activity in its proper place, I thought it would be a good idea to compile a list of practical things you can do to improve your life and the lives of those around you starting right this minute. They won't all apply to every reader. Some of them might be things you're already doing. And I'm not writing this as the ultra guru who is already doing all of these things. Many of them are still on my to-do list too. So, here are 20 practical ways you can make the world a better place, starting right now. Personal. Make sure you're opening the Bible and bowing your head in private prayer daily. Basic, yes, but before we set out to change the world, we had better be sure we're doing the basic, most foundational things the right way. Consume spiritual materials. It has never been easier to build your knowledge of the Word. Between apps, books, articles, podcasts, shameless plug for Think Deeper and Who Let the Dogma Out, and videos, you can grow as a Christian while washing the dishes or driving to work. If you have an ongoing sin problem you're aware of, get serious about killing it. Confess it, get accountable, put up guardrails, do whatever it takes. That goes for anything from porn or substance addiction to gossip or negativity and anything else that's holding you back from God. Practice daily gratitude. Take care of your health. Get some kind of exercise, get enough sleep, and be mindful of what you eat. Nutritionally, even if you did little more than throw away everything in your house that has one of vegetable, canola, sunflower, soybean, or corn oil in it, you'd be off to a great start. Each of these make the world a better place because you're better equipped to help others once you have yourself disciplined. Family. Ask your spouse once a month, what's one thing I could do better for you? And be ready to hear it, knowing it may step on your toes a bit. Additionally, if you're a husband, pick one area in which you could use more discipline and work on it. This will draw more respect from your wife. If you're a wife, pick an area in which you could grow in your submission. Your husband's love for you will grow. In both cases, you'll be an example to your kids of self-improvement. Have a regular habit of family devotionals. And make sure your kids know the Word. Help them build familiarity with major biblical people and themes, and teach them to memorize things like the books of the Bible, the Ten Commandments, etc. If there's a change you know you should make but haven't yet, make it. Change is really hard to do, but if it's important, then it needs to happen. Whether it's less screen time for the kids, a change in schooling, better church attendance habits, protecting your kid from a bad influence, cutting off a TV show you shouldn't be watching, or whatever else it may be, do something about it. Dealing with the difficult thing right now is better than letting the difficulty compound over time. Make time. Have times when the phones are put away for your spouse and similar times for your kids. Be present. Create rituals and traditions, even small weekly ones. Not married? Use your time for the church. Paul viewed this as a silver lining for those who don't have families, 1 Corinthians 7:32-34. Work to mend a strained relationship. One of the hardest, most rewarding things you can do, especially if it's with a family member. We're probably all familiar with the trope of ministers impacting thousands while losing their own families. Even most of the great men in the Bible failed miserably as fathers. But as I've said before, your kids matter more than the lost. It's not just about today. Think long-term about how much impact we can have on the world if we fill our own families with God's love. Church. Call or visit an elderly member. Invite somebody over for dinner. Hospitality is the church's most underrated, underutilized secret weapon for greater love and unity. Send a text or card of encouragement to your ministers and elders. Even if they aren't perfect, and they aren't, show them you're thankful for what they do for you. It goes a long way. Volunteer for a church activity. If you're not already involved, reach out to a leader to ask how you can help. Look for a younger person to take under your wing spiritually, and don't forget to listen to them. Community. Vote and be informed on the little stuff. The presidential election gets all the headlines, but local sheriffs and judges can impact your life profoundly. Pick an area of activism or service and get involved. Whether the election turns out well or not, it's not a finish line. There will always be a need for involved citizens to steer the community in a positive direction. Even if you're not running for office, you can find ways to help. Get familiar with your neighbors. We live in a time in which Christians spend a lot of time talking about our neighbors all over the world, while we often barely even know the names of the people across the street. The people God placed right in front of you are your truest neighbors, and if you're going to love and serve them, it would help to make sure you know them. Be a regular. Put in the time and effort to shop at the same places, use the same checkout lines, etc. In an anonymous world of mostly online connections, knowing the name of the lady at the grocery store is a blessing. And who knows, it might be your evangelistic foot in the door. One of God's greatest blessings is that He gives us good works that we may walk in them, Ephesians 2:10. And these are just a few suggestions for how we can better do that. You probably know most, if not all of them, and likely practice many. But there's always room for growth, always room to find new ways to bless others. As I said, don't bite off more than you can chew and take on 10 new habits at once. Pick 2 or 3, add them slowly, and see how each action blesses the people around you. Once you get a habit down, add a new one. Got more to add to the list in any of these categories? Please drop them in the comments below. Thanks for listening. Join the email list at jackwilkie.co to get all the latest, and subscribe to the Church Reset podcast feed on whatever podcast app you use, or even YouTube, to get audio editions of all the articles and videos delivered straight to your phone. To become a supporting listener, again go to jackwilkie.co, where you can become a monthly or annual supporter. If you enjoyed this article, one of the best ways to support my work is by sharing it with others, whether via the podcast feed or by sharing the link via email or social media from the site jackwilkie.co. Thanks again.